Next up, today we're going to talk about evolution. So how does evolution work? Well, let's explain with an example. So we have two instances of this same hypothetical species that we'll call the blue mouse, and it has no special characteristics. We also have two different environments, a jungle and a tundra. So let's just plop one of these, remember, identical blue mice into each environment. Oh, I forgot to mention this. It is a slow process, so just hang about for around a million years. Okay, we are back with your regularly scheduled program. Let's see how the initially identical blue mice variants have adapted to their new environments. A quick trip to the jungle shows us that Juliet the jungle blue mouse has evolved to become one with the trees. Her physical characteristics have changed to suit her environment. Blue fur, gone. Instead, we have a brown dapple for camouflage. Her wormy rat tail, now magnificent prehensile appendage to help her navigate the arboreal biome better. Her canines are now incisors and molars to help her masticate plant matter. Let's now look at Tango, the tundra blue mouse. Tango's environment is pretty much the polar opposite, see what I did there, of Juliet's. It's cold, it's barren, and it generally doesn't want you there. But in the immortal words of no less a scientific masterpiece than Jurassic Park, life finds a way. Tango has evolved to cope with his frigid world and has a number of features his ancestors didn't, which help him with the most key limiting factor of all in this harsh world, temperature. Slower metabolisms, hibernation, and a carnivorous diet all help him conserve heat. Clearly, both Juliet and Tango are far better equipped to live where they do than their ancestors ever were. They have adapted to their environments. This is a classic example of divergent evolution. Two identical species in radically different environments go on very different evolutionary paths. Sounds far-fetched? Well, it's happening as we speak. So what does this mean? Well, I like to think of it as nature's greatest miracle, natural selection. It's a slow, arduous process, but it can have spectacular results. The way to look at it is something I call VPS, variation, pressure, and selection. Variations in an organism's genome are mostly bad, but some can be really good. Now these rare few are blessed with adaptations that make them more genetically viable than their non-variant counterparts, meaning that organisms with the variant allele or kind of gene are more likely to survive. This exerts selection pressure on the rest of the population, meaning that these mutants are more likely to pass on their genes. So the factors affecting changes are if it increases the creature's chances of survival or natural selection, a random sampling of healthy survivors or genetic drift, artificial or environment-induced breeding, for example if a mating pool is restricted to one cave for many years, or migration into populations that have high proportions of a trait. Variations usually arise from either mutations or small-scale changes, or recombinations which are larger changes resulting from gene crossover. It's important to remember that although individual organisms may be less equipped to cope, as a whole the species gets more optimized every generation. So the next time someone brings up evolution in a conversation, assert your dominance over them by quoting this video.